A very good evening, Mr. Okafor, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Jean. I'm very much excited to be here.
Talk to us about this MSME growth series and what inspired you to start such a program.
So I think I want to start with what really set up the academy. So I'm a product of an internship program as well, about 10, 11, 12 years ago. I don't want to give away my age. And you realize quickly that there's a gap between like theory and practice. And as a member of upper youth, you quickly realize that as youth, you have three channels to go. You either end up in a job, you either become an entrepreneur, or you end up in the current social ills that we have. And that's really what inspired setting up the academy. So this growth series, then when I presented this to Standard Bank, I used almost a similar narrative, but they quickly understood that, you know, SMEs are the engine of our economy. And to correct you to say, this program is actually a 3-year program that we are meant to empower 100 SMEs, with this first year being the pilot. And those are the 40 that will be then sort of officially kicking off on Friday.
Now, how is this program different from other SME development initiatives, also bearing in mind that we do have other initiatives that are also trying to mentor several startups and SMEs?
No, thank you for that. So I would say it complements, but there are 3 key things I can say that are very much unique. I think the first thing that is unique is that we are focusing on the founder. So a lot of programs focus on, business viability, your cash flow, your balance sheet. But a lot of that is driven by the founder. Who is the jockey? The horse wins the race, but it's the jockey that rode the horse. That's quite unique in our program, in that we want to really focus on who is the person behind the business. The second one is, and this is also quite unique in that we also leverage psychometrics. So you may ask, but psychometrics is done at the end. But what is psychometrics? It tells you your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, or your threats. So if a founder knows, I might not be good with paying attention to detail, or I might not be good with strategic thinking, that might actually give him an insight to say, maybe I need a co-founder. Or maybe I need to hire in that particular area. And that's, again, what makes it unique. And the last one is, as you mentioned in your introduction, so NIFA Academy, in partnership with MTC and NUST, we brought Africa's first Bloomberg Finance Lab. And that in itself, on Bloomberg, we also have the ability now to offer entrepreneurs access to globalized certifications that enhance financial literacy. So a lot of businesses, we might invest in a unit trust, but we actually don't know what is in there. It's the basics. What is a share? What is a government bond? What does a repo rate mean? What does interest rates mean? All of that informs financial literacy. And the last one is we're also a local partner to Harvard. So some of the SMEs within this cohort, the more established ones, are going to have access to global Harvard accredited certifications, which enhance their strategic thinking. If they're a sole trader, manager of self, and if they have a few employees, how do you manage others? And I think that's really what makes our program unique.
You've also collaborated with Standard Bank Namibia. What role do they play in this initiative?
No, I think I love their theme, and it really resonates with us. So Standard Bank believe that Namibia is our home and we drive our growth. And that's so powerful. They're a strategic partner in this initiative. I think when we presented this to Standard Bank, they asked me the very same question you asked me now. What makes this different from other programs? So when we told them that this is what makes us different, in the sense that Standard Bank also believe in inclusivity. And that's why you see this program, it bridges that gap between informal and the formal. What we care about is small but growing businesses. If you are a market vendor, you might be hiring already one person. What can we do for you to now hire 3 or 4? And that's really behind Standard Bank's theme of Namibia as our home, we drive our growth. So they are very much a strategic partner, especially within this MSME development and ecosystem.
Now, talk to us about the different tracks within the program. I mentioned 3 tracks within the program. Talk to us about those 3.
So in simple terms, Eugene, the 3 tracks is we first have track C, which then has sort of your informal traders, your informal businesses, whether you are trading out of your garage or your home. That really then covers like track C. Then track B, you have sort of your formalized businesses, but it's businesses that are still growing. Might still be having challenges with formalization, with BIPA, with NAMRA, all those type of issues. But then your track A are your Standard Bank specific clients who may now be looking for support in terms of scaling or providing them access to other ecosystem players. For instance, some of them might have reached a level where they need equity, but sometimes they don't know where to get it. And that's the type of capacity building you provide to say, okay, we've reached your debt ceiling, you can't get more debt, you need equity that will help you now grow. And that's the type of networks we'll then open up for those specific tracks.
And it's interesting that you've actually involved informal and formal sector, and also there's a focus on gender and youth inclusivity. Could you perhaps just also elaborate more on that?
So I think, look at where we are as a country. Please don't maybe quote me, but in the recent statistics that was released by the NSA, the average 70% of Namibia is 35 and below. And already also when you look at the ratio, a lot of them are also youth and women. So if we really talk about financial inclusion and we mean it, that is the target market. So to bridge that inclusivity gap and to solve some of our national and social problems, that is where to target. So this program really emphasizes youth and women-led businesses.
Now, how can the public and other stakeholders really get involved and support a program like this?
I think here during the key message, and thank you very much for this question, so now I can really now sell. I think we need to stop working in silos. So it's government, it's banks, it's private sector players. We all want the same thing. We want jobs. We want economic activity, which benefits. When people are in business and are growing, they make use of banking services. They're making use of products. They add to the fiscus. So we all want the same thing, but I think at times we've operated in silos. So the call is, NIFA, we want to serve as that bridge that then connects public sector, private sector, and other relevant ecosystem players, because ultimately we want the same goal. So really, in simple terms, let us collaborate. Yes, we want to be in midfield and connect all the dots.
Now, part of the program also includes an element of financial inclusion. Perhaps just share with us, especially because we do face a challenge for individuals, but also businesses when it comes to basic financial literacy within the country. Perhaps just share with us in terms of how this program also sort of incorporate those aspects.
No, thank you very much for that. So through the Bloomberg Lab and the strategic partnerships that we have now with MTC and NAST, and as you know, with the recently approved financial sector strategy, which NAMFISA is part of, Bank of Namibia, the Ministry of Finance, I think on one of the pillars, they've really emphasized on financial literacy. But what does financial literacy mean? Sometimes we need to really be basic. It just means understanding what is a budget, how do you save, but what are the vehicles to save? And that is really the essence of financial literacy. So through our partnerships like with Bloomberg, for instance, on one of the certifications, it's called Bloomberg Finance Fundamentals. So a lot of us, we put money in a unit trust, but we don't know actually what is there. So it breaks it down in a basic form of what is a share, what is a bond, what is a commodity, what are interest rates, what are economic indicators mean, at a very basic level. And that for us really then bridges that gap. That's on the one side. But the second thing is that when they're done with this certification, it takes them only a day to complete. And at the end of it, they get a globally accredited certification. And you know why this is so central to the program is that we're not only empowering the business, but we're also empowering the founder. And from a financial literacy perspective, the more empowered we are, the better financial decisions we make, which has a ripple effect in terms of economic growth and so forth.
Now, I'm taking us back also to the fact that you've also focused or put emphasis on the founder. And I know we had this conversation offline in terms of the skills, obviously, that a founder or that a business would need to run, but then the psychometrics aspect, looking at the soft skills or the skills outside of that. Perhaps just emphasize a little bit more in terms of the importance, because when I think psychometrics, I think recruitment. So if I'm going for a job interview, then they'll do a psychometrics to see if I'm a right fit for the job. How does that tie in, especially from the business point of view?
So very, very great question. So at NIFA, so we have a software that, as you've rightfully said, usually psychometrics is used at the end, right? But specifically for this program, we embedded it as part of the application phase. So it was used right from the beginning. I think as a founder and in general, the most important thing is mindset. So in anything, how do you, pick up that mindset? So with the psychometric test, you're able to assess, how does this founder think? Can he lead? Can he guide? Does he have the resilience? Because a lot of, in entrepreneurship, the key traits are resilience. Your growth cycle is never linear. You're always going to go through a dip, but how do you get out of it? So that getting out of it, it's not the balance sheet, it's not the positive Excel spreadsheet. The resilience is a soft skill. So how do you pick it up? And that's really what Psychometrics does. So this is a different way of now looking, which jockey do I back? So if I'm a credit lender, yes, you have your quantitative factors that you assess. But if you go deeper and understanding the why, how does this founder think? You'll be able to already predict the type of business he's likely to run. And that's how we've embedded this at the start. Because if this founder knows, as I mentioned earlier, if I'm a strong leader, for instance, but I can't communicate, that founder will now appoint someone who's very good at comms. I think you're excellent at communications. So sometimes now, because he can't sell his idea, but it's a brilliant business, maybe all he needed was to take someone who's very good and comfortable in front of speaking with people. But me, who's making the lending decision, knows that this man has grit. He has toughness. And that's how you combine it from a qualitative point of view and a quantitative point of view. So.
All right. Now, as we conclude our discussion, obviously we are running out of time now.
Yes.
Perhaps just maybe some final remarks, especially speaking to this growth series and what you really hope to see as a sort of a measure of success.
I think in a very simple way, what we want to see is more businesses becoming formalized. And formalized is not in a sense that you neglect your side hustle. It's more for you to understand that we have a current system that at the end of the day, you probably will need, a bank loan or overdraft. But sometimes you can't get it. You're doing well as a business, but maybe you're trading in your personal account. But it limits your growth. So really the success of this is formalization that allows you then to scale. And there's no differentiation. Informal sector, formal sector, we all want the same thing. It's growth. But sometimes what inhibits us is lack of targeted capacity building that then allows me to access capital, but also to access the market. So really the success for us in this over the next 2-3 years is that more businesses have access to the right capital, but also the founders are empowered to be more strategic and actually grow as a person, but also grow alongside their business. So those are some of the key success metrics that we hope to achieve.
All right. Well, Mr. Okafor, thank you so much for your time and your insights on this program, and really hope it's successful. And obviously, we'll bring you back to continue.
No, absolutely, and I look forward to that.
Yes.
So I think the last thing I want to say, if I may, I know we're running in extra time, is that we're also going to be going out throughout the regions and also amplifying some of these interventions.
All right.
So watch this space.
Thank you.
Thank you.